Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, Ril Gerald Quinn. As I discuss the world of sports, pop culture, a little politics. In fact, this is going to be a lot of politics towards the end of the program. But we begin. Hope everybody out there is having a great week so far. As the calendar now has turned to March. Um, March Madness is upon us. We'll certainly be touching touching base about the NCAA tournament and the conference tournaments in about a week or 2 weeks or so, as there are 2 weeks left in the college basketball regular season. But and we got some heavy stuff to get to with what's going on in Iran. But we begin with the NBA with the deep dive. Um, I don't give them a lot of time because they are on television seemingly every other night. But my team, the Los Angeles Lakers, are the deep dive for this evening. The Lakers, who, despite the fact that there are 12 games over 500, they're not a contender. They have had a interesting season, interesting last year to say the least. Lakers find themselves right now as a franchise coming up on some interesting times in this off season when this off season does start for them. Which listen, if they get past the first round of the playoffs, I'll be surprised. If not for the bottom half, if not for some injuries in the Western Conference with Phoenix and Golden State, they would be, I think, playing. They will be in the play-in. The only thing that's keeping them out the play-in is the fact that both Phoenix and Golden State have injuries to their top players in Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, and Steph Curry. So the Lakers last year, just to give you some numbers with the Lakers here. The first 13 games. Now, the first 13 games, the Lakers were 11-2. They had a net rating of 5.6. The last 32 games, they are 17-15 with a point one net rating. They basically have been even in terms of the points allowed and points scored and offensive defensive rating. Um, Luka LeBron on the floor, the Luka LeBron on the floor two-man rating is at a negative 1.3. The Luka LeBron Austin Reeves, they only outscoring their opponents by 3.5 points. Luka and Austin Reeves have actually on with those two on the floor have outscored their opponents by 10.5 points. Um, so clearly there's been some challenges offensively when all three of those guys have played together, and when LeBron has been playing with either one of those guys, and one of the other guys has been on the bench or injured. Um, Again, statistically, all those guys are putting up numbers individually. Luca will be probably first or second team All NBA. Though if I had a vote, which I don't, I think Luca probably does not deserve to be first team All NBA this season. Um, Defensively, Lakers scores bottom half defensively. Uh, Offensively, they're a top 10. They are a top 10 team. Now, last year again, we had one of the most surprising, just shocking trades in NBA history when Luka Doncic was traded from Dallas to Los Angeles. It was a gift for the Los Angeles Lakers. No one in the Lakers, as a Laker fan, thought that Luka Doncic would be on the Los Angeles would be traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. We thought possibility as down the road as a free agent he would choose to come to LA as a possibility, but even I didn't even see that coming. I didn't even think that was realistic. To be honest with you, I did not think Luka Doncic would be leaving Dallas anytime soon. So you get this gift based off one of the single dumbest trades in the history of sports, definitely in the history of the NBA. that's even to this day just nonsensical. You get this gift for the Los Angeles Lakers, and I think that the Lakers got comfortable. I thought this year, I thought that there was no way that the Lakers would be title contenders this year. The West was too deep. Um, they had, they just, I mean, there just was not that many players that they could have went out there to acquire that was going to improve or that was going to help them put them in contention. The DeAndre Ayton thing was what it was. DeAndre Ayton was not going to make a significant difference. I don't know why. People have been talking way too much about DeAndre Ayton, to be perfectly honest with you. Even if he would have played great, that doesn't put the Lakers on the same tier as a Denver or OKC or San Antonio or Houston for that matter. So that's not DeAndre Ayton thing is not a big deal to me at all, despite the fact that he struggled. I don't care about DeAndre Ayton. He's going to be on the team for 1 year and he'll be gone. The Lakers, even in a year where this should have been a transition year, did not make the move that they had to make as far as when you're shifting from one franchise player to another. For whatever reason, um, they thought that they could win the championship or compete for a championship with LeBron and Luca on the same team, despite the fact that neither one of those guys, both of those guys are mediocre defensively. LeBron uh, more so about his age than anything else. Luca just doesn't play defense whatsoever. Austin Reeves again is a bad defensive player, and I just think there was just a miscalculation that they got caught up in the talent of those two in particular and improving Austin Reeves. And you think that, hey, we'll take our chances in the playoffs, and what happens after this year happens. Now, I listen, after this season's over, LeBron would not be on the team, pure and simple. You have already wasted a year out of Luka Doncic's prime messing around and not like you can not go all. I didn't listen. I don't have a problem with the Lakers not going all out this year to try to win a championship. It just wasn't realistic. But you can start the transition process from LeBron to Luca without mortgaging everything, draft picks and everything to mortgaging the farm to go in to build around Luca. That process should have started this year. And the bottom line is they should have traded LeBron. They should have got rid of LeBron James. Should have went to LeBron and said, look, we have Luca now. We don't we don't feel like this is good. Like we're trying to win right now. Like right now. We want to win absolutely right now. Where would you like to go? We yeah. Because the Lakers are not married to LeBron James from a standpoint. That relationship, even before the Baxter Holmes article came out, that relationship has been transactional from the start. LeBron James brought the Lakers to championship. He brought the Lakers back into being relevant on the court in 2018. Brought him a championship in 2020. In return, LeBron just breaks the scoring record in a Laker uniform, does all his off the court stuff with the production company, and came out with Space Jam in 2023. So it was again that relationship from the start was transactional, pure and simple. This was never about sentimental. It was never any like warm feelings and close feelings between the two, between LeBron James and Jeannie Buss in particular. So I believe that they go to LeBron in summer 24, last summer, or not summer 24, summer 25, and like, hey, we want to go in this direction. We'll try to do our best to accommodate you, but ultimately we're going to get the best deal for the team. I don't think that LeBron James I don't think LeBron James is I think that was a case where LeBron James is not going to be difficult and say I don't want to go anywhere. I'm sure part before Luca was traded for, I'm sure LeBron James thought that he probably that more than likely that he would end his career in LA. But the Luka Doncic trade changed everything for the franchise. And in the NBA now, it doesn't matter how young a player is. You are when you have this type of guy, a generational talent, when you have a legit top five player in the world, you're on the clock. You are absolutely on the clock. Denver is on the clock. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're on the clock. You know, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're on the clock. San Antonio, they're on the clock. When you have that type of player, you are absolutely every year is important. Every year is significant. There's no 3 to 5 year plan that you try to adhere to. No, you have to be year by year by year when you have that type of player. And the Lakers really, as a organization, um, has been poorly run. They've been listen. LeBron coming to the Lakers really. I mean, LeBron. You can say what you want about LeBron. I've had my criticisms of him with the goat propaganda and all that bullshit. But uh, let's be honest, LeBron doesn't come to LA in 2018. That franchise, that franchise was down in the depths. They were dead. That was a lot. They were basically almost irrelevant as far as not even contending, but as far as even being taken seriously. And again, this with LeBron. This is what year 8 with LeBron. I don't think LeBron would have pushed back on a trade last offseason. I really don't. And you could have got something. You probably don't get 4 or 5 draft picks for LeBron, but you could have got a couple picks. All it takes is one dummy or one team that's desperate to for LeBron to end his career. One team that thinks that LeBron can turn them into a somewhat semi contender, maybe not a championship contender, but a team that's relevant. And you can sell them on, hey, you're gonna end your career here. You can sell them on you're gonna we're gonna do this whole tour, this end of the career, final farewell tour that's gonna be worth tens of millions of dollars. You could all it takes is one team. You could sell them on that. You could have sold them on that. Right now, the Lakers find themselves in a situation where now they're going to have a ton of cap space, probably close to $80 million in cap space. Um, but you have wasted a year where that process should have got started back in 2025. And it's almost like you just were waiting that you assumed that Luca was going to make you a instant contender by himself just on his sheer talent, and that's not been the case. In today's NBA, it's been proven. Look at listen, look at Milwaukee with Giannis. Uh, these teams, you have to have depth and quality depth with these teams. You have to have quality depth. The pieces have to fit. You have to have two-way players, defensive players. It doesn't matter. Like, listen, Denver, Nikola Jokic has been the best player for like the last 3 years. Denver last 2 years have been eliminated in the playoffs back to back years in a game 7 with clearly the best player in the world. And one of the reasons is a lack of depth that they've had. Some of the depth that they started losing when they won a championship back in 2023. The roster has not been a complete roster. This year, if healthy, this roster could be a championship roster. It is a championship roster if they're healthy. Um, but it doesn't matter if you have one of these players. That does not guarantee you being a championship contender, having a top 5 player or a top 7 to 8 player. You have to have a bunch of pieces and the right pieces around those players. And at this stage in his career, LeBron James definitely can't be your second best player. Forget about your best player. He can't even be your second best player if you're going to win a championship. If you're going to seriously contend for a championship. Get into Luca. Um, Luca's taking a lot of heat this year, recently, in regards to uh, leadership, in regards to attitude. He's getting back into the habit of going at the refs and what have you. He's never defended. Like that's just never been his forte. That's never been something that he's been so dominant offensively and so such a game changer from an offensive standpoint that you know it's been basically defense optional. I'm not gonna sit up here. Listen, 27 years old. Um, I think that you have to get Luke. You have to apply the pressure to Luca if you're the Lakers as a franchise in regards to saying it doesn't matter. Luca's going to learn the hard way from a standpoint. It doesn't matter. Your numbers in LA don't matter from a standpoint. The fans don't care if you average 33, 9, and 8 on efficiency, on efficient shooting. They don't care about the 51-point games. They don't care about a 60-point game. They don't care about a night where you hit 8 or 9 threes. That's not what the Lakers are about. Championships, pure and simple. That's it. They're about rings, and Luka's going to learn that. If he's not learned it already, he's going to definitely learn it. In a bad way if he doesn't pick it up from a leadership standpoint. Again, I don't like the construction of this team. I don't like the construction of this roster. We're gonna get Luka's gonna have his chance to ingratiate himself to the Laker fan base when LeBron is gone. I don't think he can fully do that as long as LeBron's around. So I cannot fully gauge Luka or judge Luka as a basketball player until LeBron is out. Period, point blank. LeBron right now is like an anchor. Again, the numbers he puts up are not impactful. It's not coincidence that the Lakers were playing their best basketball without LeBron James. I don't want to hear about how he's being used and not being used. It's just not about LeBron anymore with the Lakers. It's just not. So the Lakers again. The Lakers miscalculated this Luca LeBron partnership. Um, and again, it was tantalizing because uh, last year LeBron was playing at an All NBA level. Played at an All NBA level. He played like a top 10 player, legitimately a top 10 player last year. He was second team All NBA. There was certain people that were pushing him to be first team, which was kind of a little bit ridiculous. But he played at an extremely high level last year. But the league it has gone young and athletic. And the Lakers right now, as currently constructed, they're not athletic. They don't defend, and they really don't have any quality sides. To be honest with you, and that is like death in the Western Conference. Period. Point blank. So this offseason for the Lakers will be one that really will define what direction they're going in moving forward. And this is as important of offseason that they've had since 2018 when LeBron chose to come there. It's that important. I'm not going to jump off the ledge and say, because I've heard a lot of this over the past couple weeks, that you can't win a championship without Luka Doncic. I think that's anybody thinks that or says that, that's ridiculous. And of course, listen, there's no, I don't like. I would like to think that they will be able to win a championship um, around Luka Doncic, but the NBA, listen, the NBA is loaded. The Western Conference is loaded. Having one great player is just not enough. Yeah, people Luka would take a knock if he did win a championship as a Laker, but you also got to look at how these other teams are constructed, and these are, like San Antonio is coming. Um, Denver still has a window as long as you have Joker. Oklahoma City is the team to beat in the league in the NBA right now. Houston still has some flexibility if they want to make a trade, if they especially if they come up short in the postseason. Like, and Minnesota is still very good. And I can see Minnesota will try to swing for the fences if they get put out before the conference finals or before the NBA or before the conference finals. Utah is coming as well. So the West is, especially at the top, the West is a bloodbath. Around the NBA a little bit. One of the things the NBA has been lacking, really, in the last decade or the last, you know, decade, really maybe in the last 10 to 15 years, is a rivalry, a real rivalry. And I'm talking about a rivalry that has championship implications, year in and year out. When you think about it, the last great rivalry in the NBA year in year out, I mean, probably Spurs Lakers. When you really think about it, um, I understand Miami met San Antonio year in back to back years in the finals. High level basketball, two, one classic 7 game series, and then one, following year San Antonio played some of the best basketball, most beautiful basketball that you'll ever see. But even that was 2 years and that was it. Um, right now, the NBA does not have a legit, like, knockdown, drag out, we hate you type rivalry that's had championship implications. But what transpired on Friday with OKC and Denver certainly has the potential to possibly get there. Um, Lou Dort knocks Joker to the floor. Clearly a cheap shot, clearly unnecessary. Um, but I love the fact Coach Joker did not re-injure himself. So outside of that, outside of that type of cheap shot, which could have been, could have went the wrong way. Thankfully, it didn't. In regards to Joker, who's already had the hyperextended knee early in the season, these two teams hate each other. Teams are starting to hate Oklahoma City. San Antonio despises Oklahoma City. A lot of talk around the league that OKC is certainly not people's cup of tea. And, for a reason. Listen, they're champions. They're a young team. They're on some of them. Chet and SGA on commercials. They got all these draft picks. They're considered right now to be the model franchise. The model franchise right here, right now, especially with Golden State basically being done as far as being a contending team. So they're a target, right? They have a target on their back, and I love it. I love the fact that people hate them. I love the fact that that Wembanyama hates Chet Holmgren, literally hates him as a basketball player. You know, SGA being called the foul merchant, even though I think that's bullshit. But it all listen. This is what the NBA needs these two teams to meet in the playoffs year in and year out. You got the two best players in the world. You got two guys that are fighting for MVPs year in and year out. Joker Joker's personality has really come out in these last 2 years. Last year, we started to see at the end of last year with the leadership, with the when he had involved with all the injuries that Denver had, that he stepped up, really became has gone out his way, to his credit, to be a vocal leader. Doesn't take shit from anybody. We've seen Joker get into it with a couple people over the course of this year. Uh, during that game on Friday, SGA, hits him with the ball after he shoves SGA. And listen, Joker is not, he's not Bill Laimbeer dirty, but Joker is sneaky dirty. Is a sneaky dirty player. It doesn't go out of bounds or out. It doesn't. He doesn't color outside the lines. It doesn't get over. It's not over the top or anything malicious. But he does some shit that he gets away with. He gets away with it because it's real subtle shit that he does in terms of how he uses his body, and he's very crafty at it. I mean, obviously, he's one of the smartest players in the league. But he does some shit. He does some real sneaky shit that could rub people the wrong way. And and listen, he gets the benefit of the cause. Like, the SGA got a technical foul. Joker didn't in that situation. The Lou Dort situation was, I mean, again, I didn't think Lou Dort was going to get thrown out for get upgraded. It was going to get upgraded to a flagrant two, but I'm not certainly not surprised. But this is necessary. I loved it. I loved every moment. Once Joker got back up, I was like, okay, here we go. This is what the NBA needs. Detroit wants to fight everybody every night. I love that. San Antonio, again, doesn't back down from anybody. Wembanyama doesn't back down from anybody. The NBA in the worst way needs this type of energy. The basketball is still high level, as far as it's still been relatively high level. That was a great game with Oklahoma City, Denver, and listen, there were about five rotation players out between the two teams: Peyton Watson, Aaron Gordon, AJ Mitchell, Jalen Williams. So about four rotation players out between two teams. So it's certainly that's not what we're going to see if they meet in the playoffs. Both these teams hopefully will look completely different from that standpoint, as far as their role players goes. And who knows? Again, two of the biggest question marks in the league right now is the health of Aaron Gordon and Jalen Williams. Those are two players that neither one. I don't think Oklahoma City can win a championship without Jalen Williams, and I know that Denver cannot win a championship without a healthy Aaron Gordon. But this was necessary. It was a fun game Friday, high intensity, um, big time playoff intensity on Friday. Big week for Oklahoma City in general with what they did. Um, they get SGA back. They win. Get SGA back. They were like 5-4 without him, which is fine. Held their heads above water, and again, pound for pound, player for player, Oklahoma City is still the team to beat in the NBA, and should absolutely be favored to win another NBA championship. And I still think there's only one team in the league that could beat them, and that's Denver. We're getting to some NFL now. So free agency is set to begin March 11th. We already seeing some effects with some releases, a few veteran guys that have been released from their teams or that will be officially released when the new league year starts on March 11th. So I wanted to have some fun with some of the quarterbacks who could become free agents, who are already on free agents, and try to match them up with teams who need quarterbacks coming into the 2026 season. Um, first of all, let's begin with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray will be released from Arizona next week. It's basically unofficial. Um, Arizona now. Now Arizona's gonna. He's still old. He's still gonna be old. Like 36, $37 million of guaranteed money from this season. But Arizona saves on not having to pay him for 2027 by releasing him before March 15th. The most important part of that whole situation with Kyler Murray, excuse me, is the fact that you can sign him for a minimum deal. Kyler Murray still has a ton of talent. Kyler Murray still is very young and should absolutely have the biggest chip on his shoulder in the world, have the most to prove just about out of any quarterback, being a number one draft pick who was looking like he had a chance to be a superstar quarterback, who went to the Pro Bowl twice, led his team to the playoffs, and finds himself without a home right now. There should be at least at least five teams that should be after Kyler Murray. Seriously, after Kyler Murray. If I'm Kyler Murray, the best situation that I would go to, based off the receivers and based off coaching, to me, would be Minnesota. I think Kevin O'Connell is a great quarterback coach. We saw what he did with Sam Darnold. I can make a case that Kyler Murray has more talent than Sam Darnold. Now he's not as physically as imposing as Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, and that's something that a lot of people questioned Kyler Murray's size and thought that was an impediment. But I don't buy that from the standpoint. I don't think Kyler Murray is too small to play quarterback in the league. I think Kyler Murray's biggest issue was he did not work hard enough, pure and simple. And he had success that came early, got complacent, and the NFL bit him in his ass and didn't have the greatest coaching, to be perfectly honest with you, as well, in regards to Cliff Kingsbury and Gammon. Again, I think if I'm Minnesota and I compare Kyler Murray up with a Justin Jefferson and with the receivers that some of the offensive weapons that they have, and what they obviously they have nice pieces on defense. Minnesota this year, what was 9-8, they could be right back in the playoffs next year. And remember, Kyler Murray would be playing for a contract. So to me, if I'm Kyler, I think that is the best possible fit for both not only the team but also as well for Kyler Murray. Looking at some other situations that could use a quarterback and who I matched a free agent quarterback with Cleveland Browns. So currently, as it stands, Cleveland has Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson in their quarterback room. They have two first round draft picks, the 6th and the 24th. They have in 2027 they will have as much they could have as much as $118 million worth of cap space in 2027. Now, the elephant in the room is, of course, this will be the last season of the Deshaun Watson contract, which obviously will go down as one of the worst contracts in NFL history, considering what transpired with Deshaun Watson. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I would go after Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo has played, has been a part of two great organizations at one point in his career with New England when New England was still winning championships and going to winning championships, and of course with San Francisco, he went to was able to go, help get them to a Super Bowl a few years ago. Remember, you're getting Jimmy Garoppolo. You're getting a guy who has won some games, has been obviously has played at a borderline Pro Bowl level at some point in his career. Not very old, and again, this is a 1 year thing. This is a stopgap. The 2027 draft will be loaded with quarterbacks next year. And at worst, maybe Shador Sanders can beat him out, and Garoppolo can be kind of a mentor for Shador Sanders. I don't think it hurts. You don't have to pay him. You don't have to pay him anything. He's trying to prove it. He could be trying to prove himself to getting a starting spot. I just can't enter my quarterback. I can't enter the season if I'm Cleveland with that quarterback room, saying with those three at quarterback. I'm sorry, I had to bring in some type of a respected veteran who has won some games and has had some NFL success to bring into that locker room, into that quarterback room. They're gonna have a completely different offensive line. We know they still have some excellent pieces on the defense, led by, of course, the one of the premier defensive player in the world in Myles Garrett. And again, you just need a bridge to 2027. You just need a bridge to 2027. Let's go to New York, the New York Jets. So the Jets have two first round picks, a second pick and a 16th pick. So two high first round picks. They have $83 million in cap space. Uh, and their quarterback room is right now, as we stand, their quarterback room is made up of Brady Quinn and Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is a free agent, by the way. So in essence, they really don't have a quarterback. Now, if you're the New York Jets, let's assume for a second that Las Vegas Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza. There's been talk about Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback, will absolutely go in the first round. Is Ty Simpson a first round quarterback? No. And if you're the Jets, you are insane if you draft Ty Simpson. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not, Ty Simpson had a nice year at Alabama. He had a stretch where he was playing well, got the like Ty Simpson just does not do it for me. If I'm out, you can't draft Ty Simpson with the number two pick. I'm sorry, you just can't do it if you're the Jets. I know you had a horrible year last year, but this is where if you're the Jets, I there's one guy out there who you can put on your team and who I don't think you would absolutely have to break the bank for, who came off of an excellent year last year, and that's Mac Jones. I would trade Mac for Mac Jones. I would trade one of my first round picks for Mac Jones. I still would have. Now it would be the second pick, but yeah, I would trade the 16th pick for Mac Jones. So you can have a 16th pick in 2020 and 20 this year. You can have a second round pick next year. San Francisco needs to replenish their roster anyway, so they will be looking for more. They would be a perfect team to match up with as far as getting needing draft capital. Capital. Again, you have $83 million of cap space that you can go out there and replenish the roster. The New England Patriots have shown you the way as far as in one off season you could turn that thing around, and the Jets could be in the playoffs, especially in the AFC. Like that top again, some of those teams are going to be back in the AFC. I expect Kansas City, Baltimore to be back in the AFC. I don't know about Cincinnati. Well, that remains to be seen. But the AFC at the bottom half, those seven slots will be open for business in terms of making the playoffs. And again, Mac Jones, they did not have a lot of talent last year in San Francisco at the skill position players in terms of skill position players. I understand Christian McCaffrey was a monster last year, played great, had a great year, all pro caliber year. And I understand you had one of the best offense. You have one of the best coaches in the league, top a legit top coach in Kyle Shanahan, who we know is as good as anybody in the league in terms of scheming, and he coached his ass off last year. But Mac Jones, you can't listen. You can't tell me that Mac Jones cannot come in and stabilize your quarterback situation for at least the next 2 to 3 years. At least the next 2 or 3 years. It's worth the risks. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it to me to trade for him. You need an adult in the room at the quarterback position if you're the New York Jets in the worst way. I would next I'll go Miami Dolphins. Um so Miami has a situation with Tua Tagovailoa. I don't see how Tagovailoa is on the team next year. Um, if they cut Tagovailoa before June 1st, that would be a $67.4 million cap hit, but that would be spread over 2 years. They have the number 11 pick in the draft. Again, there have been some rumors of Malik Willis. I don't think Malik Willis makes sense for Miami. You're gonna have to give Malik Willis like 25 to $30 million, and your team that's currently constructed, there's not just enough around him to justify spending that type of money on him. I would get Marcus Mariota if I'm Miami. Marcus Mariota makes perfect sense. Uh, Absolutely perfect sense. And by the way, Malik Willis to the Jets wouldn't be bad either, or Malik Willis to Arizona. Uh, I wouldn't. That would be kind of I think that would be an excellent fit for them as well. But I mean, Arizona. Well, Malik Willis can't go to Arizona because they're gonna be handicapped with the paying paying out the Kyler Murray contract. But Malik Willis to Malik Willis possibly to Pittsburgh and Malik Willis, but I think Malik Willis would make perfect sense. Um, well, Malik Willis to Pittsburgh would be a possibility, but as far as Miami goes, Marcus Mariota has been one of the better backups in the league for the better part of the last 2 to 3 years. He's a veteran quarterback. I think, will be entering his 11th year in the league. Again, you are looking to a guy to get you to 2027. You're not going to pay Mariota a lot of money. Um, and you're not like I don't see it again. I don't see a situation where Tua's on the team next year. I'd be shocked if he was on the team next year. Um, so Mariota to Miami makes the most sense from the standpoint of again cheap, a guy that can get you to next year, a veteran guy, respected around the league, um, running quarterback. So he can help your offensive line. He can help your running game with the threat of his legs, and really a better passer than many than a better quarterback from the pocket than he's given credit for. So Mariota to Miami, Kyler Murray to Minnesota. I would trade from the Jets, Mac Jones to the Jets, and Jimmy Garoppolo, excuse me, to Cleveland. Those would be my quarterback matches. If I'm those four teams who desperately need quarterbacks for the short term and need quarterbacks that and Minnesota is a in win now mode. They are desperately in win now mode for what the type of roster they have, the kind of coach they have. Those other three teams are trying to get to 2027. To be perfectly honest with you, before I let you go, a couple of real thoughts. Um, get to the serious part of the podcast and the heavy, excuse me, the heavy stuff. Of course, we know over the past couple of days what transpired Saturday morning with the U.S. and Israel attacking Iran. There have already been too many casualties on both sides. Um, a school, an all-girls school in Iran, was blown up, where there had are at least 150 young girls who are no longer with us. Um, this is a war that seemingly was inevitable, considering Donald Trump and Netanyahu. Uh, I just want just a few things here. Donald Trump, since Donald Trump got into office, back into office, his net worth has jumped from $2.3 billion to $6.3 billion in a little over a year. Okay. Uh, Iran. So when you want to start asking yourself questions of why, uh, Iran has the 19th largest economy in the world, 10% of the world's oil reserves. Okay. Uh, you have to understand when you're dealing with Trump, there are three words that should come to mind when you're dealing with any of the moves that Trump makes. Follow the money. This is the most transactional president that we've ever had. This is a guy that would sell his soul for that doesn't care about this country. Doesn't care about this country at all, in the least bit. He is looking to suck this country dry to wherever, like this. Again, this is the least most America First president that we've ever had, by far. By far. Um, and, you look at this war as a comparison to, say, uh, the Gulf War in regards to what Americans think about this war. Right now, Donald Trump approval rating in terms of this war is at 21%. George, by comparison, in 1991, March of 1991, in 1991, with the Persian Gulf War, that George H.W. Bush, 77% of America approved that war. George H.W.'s approval rating, job approval rating in March of 1991, a couple of months into that war, was 90%. 90. Think about that for a second. Um, I just wonder, are people that's Trump worn down people? Are people beaten down by Donald Trump? And what I mean by saying that is he's not even like he's not even trying to hide the obvious reasons why he's doing this. He's not even trying to hide it. We've seen that. We saw this with Venezuela. We've seen this now with Iran. This is about resources. It's about I want their resources. Now, yeah, with Trump is you gotta look at things like ego, narcissism, a power grab, but he wants the. I mean, to me, I mean, I don't think it's that complicated to understand why we are involved in this in someone else in another country's business. Um, and he has the means in regards to where we're at from a media landscape in regards to the traditional legacy media. He has he has that in his back pocket. Um, Recently, over the weekend, Netflix dropped out the bid for Warner Brothers, and now Warner Brothers will be sold to Paramount. Paramount, of course, owned by Larry Ellison, who is a Trump supporter. So Paramount will be connected, collaborating with HBO Max, and also CNN, HBO Max, that collaboration. So that's just another media that you'll have Bill Maher. We will be kissing Trump's ass already again again what she has done already, but really in bed for Donald Trump. Uh, I mean, he has the media, he has the podcast, so legacy media is in his back pocket, and I get again. I see where people are upset saying that we shouldn't be in this war 21%, but we had 10 years of Donald Trump, and it's not like, and this is what, 80 million people voted for this. 80 million people voted for this. Yeah, I think when you take a look back on it, this was bound to happen. This was going to absolutely happen. The danger of this, stating the obvious, again, American troops are going to die. Civilians on the ground, Iranian civilians on the ground are going to die. You have a number of Americans who are over in the Middle East right now who um, should be nervous, considering and who may be even stuck over there right now with in terms of flights and things of that nature. But the long term danger in this is at a certain point you can't piss everybody off. You have NATO, you have you had these traditional alliances that the United States once had, uh, United Nations, that seemingly Trump has no regard for whatsoever. Not seemingly, he has no regard for it whatsoever. Trying to create his own like border peace, or anybody that basically doesn't that wants that's willing to bend the knee or kiss his ass. And basically, if you don't, is lay down, get down, or lay down. That's where we're at right now in regards to that. And again, the United States, you can't piss everybody off because these countries at a certain point are gonna be like, you know what, we're not gonna take anymore, and that's when the shit really hits the fan in regards to World War III and nuclear war possibly. That's when that's I mean that is the scary part of this, the long term effects of this, the possible long term ramifications of this situation. And you're dealing with somebody that has no regard for the Constitution, no regard for democracy. Forget about decorum. He's never been one for decorum. You're having somebody who wants, in a sense, even if he's not reelected in 2028, seemingly wants to go out with a bang, is willing to go as far as possible And you know, listen. I just wonder, do people really realize how dangerous he is in a real way? And I wonder, people who are still trying to justify his actions, what is like I wonder why those people even are still like, what do you stand? Are you really want to stand on that hill at this point? You really want to stand on that hill? So again, this is a war that, you know, he said 4 to 5 weeks. We know the wars don't. That's not doesn't happen with wars. We understand that. Do we expect 20 years? Who knows? But at some point, again, if you're American, you can't piss everybody off, and that bully tactic only can go so far. I was watching Hoodlum a couple of days ago, and Charlie Lucky Luciano, who of course created the commission, was trying to tell him Bumpy Johnson, in this business, a man needs is basically only as good as his allies, and that's that's definitely a bar and a jewel. I mean, America at its height in terms of our regard from the rest of the world, we were part of the reason why we were considered the most powerful country and one of the more respected countries in the world is because we had enough allies to back us. And it wasn't just through sheer force. It was just we actually uh, had those type of alliances at one point. Well, in the program, on a positive note, there's a big weekend. Last weekend was a big weekend for Michael B. Jordan. He wins Entertainer of the Year at the NAACP. Got a lot of love from that ceremony, especially coming off the BAFTAs and that whole ordeal last week. Sinners, as expected, racked up in those awards. The Actors Awards, formerly called the Screen Actors Guild Awards, bit of a surprise. He beats out Timothy Chalamet for Best Actor, uh, which was a shock to many, even myself included. And it really changed. It really, with the Oscars now about less than 2 weeks away, could change the dynamic. It really has closed the gap with the Oscar race. Charlemagne Charlemagne was considered the overwhelming favorite going into the Actors Awards. There's a scenario. I'm thinking to myself, Charlemagne's still favored even by the odds makers, but those odds have closed within, you know, going from Charlemagne is at negative one minus 120. Michael B. Jordan is at plus 150. Everybody else is nowhere. Everybody else is not even close. Wagner Moura and Leonardo DiCaprio have zero chance, next to no chance to win it. And those Oscar odds have been on point for the better part of the last decade in terms of the last 10 years. There's been one major upset in the best actor Oscar, and that was back in 2021 when Anthony Hopkins beat out the late Chad Boseman for best Oscar for best actor for best actor. So those odds have normally been accurate in the prediction of not only best actor but best actress as well. Um, you look at the best narrative. What is the best narrative in terms of the winner? Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo get just completely disrespected, dehumanized at the BAFTAs. follows it up with a feel good win at the NAACP, has the upset victory at the Actors Awards, and wins Best Actor at the Oscars. That's it's not out of the realms of possibility. That to me is a much more compelling narrative than Timothy Chalamet winning Best Actor. I mean, just to be honest with you, I'm looking at I'm not even comparing performances at this standpoint because I did not see Mari Supreme. Just to be fair about it, we'll try to see it before the Oscars come out. But I'm talking about which narrative would be the better narrative, and to me, considering what happened at the BAFTAs, it might have a situation where getting called nigger might earn Michael B. Jordan, might push Michael B. Jordan the momentum into winning his first Oscar. So we'll see what happens. But again, this race has gotten closer, just got a lot closer with what transpired last weekend at the Actors Awards ceremony. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I will catch you next time. Have a great rest of your week. So long.